Morning fishers, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be chasing flathead. Now, this is not your standard style flathead video. This will be chasing flathead in crystal clear water up on the shallows. So we're going to fish the high tide up on top of the flats. And we're going to be up amongst the weed where there's little sandy patches. So I'm probably going to use the underwater drone to look around those little sandy patches, hopefully show you some pretty cool footage. I'm also going to include some footage that I captured a little while ago, and that's actually a flathead eating a lure in front of the underwater drone. We didn't land that fish, but what actually happened during that time I think made the footage even better. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. That is pretty epic footage. Once that tide drops back down, we're going to try fish the real shallow water. So we're talking less than a foot of water. I'm hoping the wind will die out to be a complete glass out. I'll throw the aerial drone up. I'm by myself, which makes it a bit difficult, but I'll throw the drone up and I'll fish at the same time, and hopefully we can capture some of those flathead eating lures in really shallow water. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Right, first cast, got a little Xeric flat shad. That's a 3.5 inch fat Betty colour. Hugely popular flathead lure. I've caught hundreds of flathead on that lure. It lasts forever, and more importantly it catches fish. I've got 9-pound leader, 6-pound mainline, and a blade and tails rod. It's a 4 to 8 pound, and a little Shimano Stratic. First cast, we're fishing top of the tide at the moment. We've got the weed banks, and we've got little patches of sand through it. So I'll cast just past that and bring it back through where those little sand patches are. Little tidal flow flowing across these banks at the moment. I'm only using a 1/4 ounce jig head. Just slow my action down a little bit, just so it sinks down a little bit further. There we go. It's a good fish. Just can't see where that lure is situated in his mouth at the moment, so I just need to be careful. Run a fairly light drag until I can see it. Work out where that hook's situated. If it's a long way down its gob, then there's a good chance he'll rub me off. Those real abrasive teeth that they've got. It's a nice fish. It looks like the lure's down its gob, so I've got to be real careful here. I don't want to put too much strain on him. Beautiful. It's a lovely fish. There we go. It's a nice fish, be probably about 65, I'd say. See that lure down its gob? Swallowed a long way down. That line is so frayed. If I'd gone any harder, I would have broken it off for sure. That lure is so far down there, it's not funny. I'll pop that out and measure him and let him go. There we go, lovely fish. 64 centimetres that fish. Absolutely gorgeous. Put in a good fight for his size. Look at the colour of him. He's up in the weed at the moment. They really get that dark speckled look to him. When they get back down more on the sand, they'll change to a really, really light colour. We'll let this fella go. Alright. He's out of here. Fish on. Same spot as I hooked that other one before. Pretty good fish. He's out of here. Wind's just dropping out as well, so pretty good time to put the underwater drone down to tick, I think. See if we can catch some pretty cool footage of these fish sitting amongst the sand patches. Oh, it's a beautiful fish. Got a fair motor on this one. Peeling line. Very similar sized fish by the looks of it. Sort of looks in that mid-60 range. Lovely fish. Look at that. Beautiful. Lovely fish. There you go, guys. Another one. He's hooked right in the corner of the jaw, that one. Pretty safe not to rub you off. You can go a little bit harder when you can see him hooked in the corner like that. He's not a huge fish. He's probably about 60, 62. Let's try it on. Pretty much dead on 60, that fish. Beautiful coloration on them. Great fun. They really are the ultimate ambush predator, burying themselves in the sand. Likely looking critter comes past them, any form of bait, they'll come out and nail them. Let's get him back. Alright, beautiful fish, 60 odd centimetres. Crystal clear water. Lovely fish. Off you go, mate. With time getting on, I went to another area and put the underwater drone down with the hope of capturing some footage of flathead on the weed banks. As I looked around, I came across a school of stingrays which got spooked and stirred the sand up. I kept the drone still for a while and hadn't noticed a big flathead buried in the sand right in front of me. As I looked around, the flathead eventually moves away, so I begin to follow it. I went back to the same sand patch and soon came across another big flathead. It wasn't until this fish starts swimming away that I noticed its true size, and I would estimate it to be well over 80 centimetres. As mentioned at the start of the video, the following footage was taken on a prior trip and I had a mate casting a plastic around while I was using the underwater drone close by. I had spotted a flathead moving off in the distance, so I started to follow it while my mate put a cast well ahead of it. The flathead turns and eats the plastic while another one takes off right beside it. The fish begins to shake its head side to side, trying to shake the plastic free. I quickly turn the drone around and move forward to get a closer look, when it again shakes its head like crazy, opens its mouth and spits the lure out right in front of the drone before swimming away. I couldn't believe that I had just captured that epic footage, and watching it in slow motion makes it even more incredible. After spotting a fish moving around over the banks, I put a cast in close by and eventually got the bite. Here it comes. Yes! Oh no, I dropped it. Let's come back. Come on. Yes! Oh, how good was that? Good flathead. That's a cracking fish. Had a couple goes of that one then. Right here, look at him go. He started coming straight towards the boat. Realised he was hooked and putting a fair fight in there. That's a nice fish. Very similar size, probably 62, somewhere around that. Just on the falling tide at the moment, we've got probably half a metre under us. I often find this part of the tide, at mid run out tide, fish start moving around, they become fairly active before they run off the edge of these banks. It's a beautiful fish. Actually might be a little bit bigger, this fish, close to 65. It's a lovely fish. There we go. Absolute cracking flatty, 68 centimetres. Beautiful fish. To be able to sight that fish and cast to it and catch it, that is awesome. That's what flats fishing's all about in clear water. Throw that lure around, see what they like. He didn't seem too interested to start with. Once he caught a glimpse of it hopping up in front of him, chased it, engulfed it. Zurich flat shade down its gob. That is cool. Absolutely beautiful fish. Won't keep him out of the water too long. We'll let him go. How good is that? Look at it just blend in beautifully with those weed banks. He'll probably go down and sulk on the bottom for a while he revives himself. Until he's ready to go. We'll let him go and see what he does. Just got some really big squid moving through here at the moment. Just going to throw a squid jig out and nail one of them. Here it comes. I'll get him to come over closer. Here he comes. Got him. Yes. Woohoo! That is epic. How cool is that? Watching a squid so close in such clear water take a squid jig. That is epic. Alright, let's see if I can get inked here. He's a good sized squid too. Bloody heavy. Whoa, I don't like the way he's facing. That is a beautiful. Whoa! Whoa up, buddy. It's his lucky day. I'm going to let this fella go. I wanted to do catch and release today. I didn't bring an esky with me. See you, buddy. With the tide dropping off the banks, areas that had flathead situated among the sand patches on the weed banks have now seen the fish move into the surrounding channels. This is a good time to fish channel banks and any entrances to the drains of water running off the banks. These drains act like a large funnel in carrying food sources off the banks where flathead wait to feed. It's also a time that flathead now inhabit areas opposite to what we saw on the high tide. Instead of fishing sand patches among the weed banks, you're now looking to cast at weed patches among the sand, or any other structures like rocks, fallen trees and logs. Oh, here comes one. It's following it. It's following it. Oh, it's so close. Take it. Take it. Come on. Damn it. Oh, come on. So close. Eat it. Eat it. Come on. Come on. Oh, it's just not going to commit. Come on. I'm just going to let it sit still for a tick. Twitch. 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 Come on, take it. Oh man, come on. Oh, it's just too shy. I don't think it's going to take it. Spion. I soon watched that fish swim off and begin to follow it with the drone. It swims over towards a stingray, and then I noticed there's another flathead right beside it as well. The flathead moves around again and positions itself and begins to shuffle and bury itself in the sand, which was unreal to capture on camera. Alright, I've got two big flatheads sitting right under the drone at the moment. They've come away from the shallows right here, moved out a little bit deeper behind me. See if we can hook one. Whilst talking to the camera, one flathead swam away before I could even get a cast in, but the other remained buried in the sand. I put a cast in close by, and eventually the flathead sees it and starts to show a bit of interest and follow the lure. I could tell this fish was really shy and wouldn't commit to the lure, but soon watched something very interesting. It swam back to the same spot it was previously laying and carefully positioned itself between the mounds of sand that the worms had produced. This is just another brilliant way that flathead can disguise themselves, ready to eat their next meal that comes past. After throwing a large selection of lures at flathead in various locations, they'd completely switched off, so I decided to walk the banks and show where the flathead had been laying on the high tide. So here's a little gutter of water that runs out of the bank here. It runs out into the main channels. I bet if we go to the entrance to that little channel, there'll be some big flathead lays sitting there. If not, a flathead could be there and take off. We'll just wait and see. Yep, several big flathead lays there. One there, and that's a substantial size one, that one. That's huge. Possibly a smaller one beside it. But yeah, they're quite big lays. Up into a little channel. Any of those little gutters and entrances, that's where you want to be fishing. As you can see, you don't need much of a sand patch, so we've got weed all around us here. Everywhere we look. There's one tiny sand patch here. You can see where either one flathead or possibly two, could be one moving, has been sitting. There could even be a third just beside that one, but that is just a tiny sand patch and a lot of weed around it. So if you can see that lighter colour with the sand, cast your lure through it, because 9 times out of 10, that's where they'll be. See, here's a little sandbank. Water's running off up over from the banks. It's running up over the sandbank into some deeper water. That's where these flathead lie. Right on the edge of those sandbanks where the deeper water is. Once that tide slows up here, I'll come back when it's pretty much at the dead bottom of the tide. You'll be surprised just how many flathead will be along there that you can't catch. At the moment, it is dead quiet. But if I come back and another half hour, drive the boat over the top of it, we'll see them take off everywhere. Alright, it's the bottom of the tide, and oh, there goes one right there. Alright, so I'm just going to drift the edge of these weed banks and see how many flathead will take off, and also where they've been lying as well. Oh, I can see one buried in the sand right there. That's a good sized lay right there. Wow, look at them all. There's heaps all through there. Some of these lays can be from the same fish moving around, but they can also be the different fish as well. Have a go at this. I was just looking around the edge of the banks, and there's literally hundreds of school mackerel up in the shallows just cruising around. Wow, that's unreal. Have a go at them all. Just come to another spot, and there's several lays right beside the bank here. A couple there, and some right on the very edge of the weed bank there. Oh, there's another one buried in the sand right there. Well, the fishing was tough today, but the weather made up for it. It was absolutely magic. Probably too good. It often puts a fish off in the shallows like that, but you do capture some really cool footage. And today was all about seeing flathead in their natural environment, which I think we captured really well. That underwater footage, epic. So many different species mixed in with them as well. And then to get some aerial footage of flathead in such shallow water. Coming up behind lures, not quite committing. Next time I'll really try hard to get that footage of flathead committing and eating a lure right in front of the aerial drone. But we did get it on that underwater footage, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's really, really hard to get. Something that's pretty special, and my stoke levels were pretty high in that one. But then to see other species today as well, we had squid, see the school mackerel. I have seen school mackerel like that a couple of times now in the shallows, but in such calm weather, and to see 100 odd or more of them swimming around like that, that's pretty epic. So a pretty cool day, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that footage. If you did, please subscribe, and until next time, tight lines.